Hey everyone, it's Debbie here from Healing from Borderline Personality Disorder, Healing from BPD website and group, as well as DBT Path at emotionallysensitive.com. You just heard one of my cats saying hello to you also. So I'm here today because I posed a question in this Facebook group asking what you all would like me to speak about when it comes to borderline personality disorder, BPD traits, emotional sensitivity, and specifically around recovery and also the use of dialectical behavior therapy or DBT skills. So some great questions have come in. I'm not sure if I'll cover them all in this single video, but let's get started and get to some of these great questions right now. So Sherrod did a great job of collecting some questions that I think will be relatable and relevant to many people in the group, so I'll start there. Sherrod asked, what did your life look like before you got your BPD diagnosis versus now that you're in recovery? So just so we're all on the same page, BPD is borderline personality disorder. And I was originally diagnosed back when I was 19 years old, a long time ago. And it wasn't actually a diagnosis, it was rule out borderline personality disorder was what was on my discharge papers from the hospital. Looking back, I can see that I had borderline personality disorder back then, but I was scared. My life was really unstable. I did not follow up, so I did not get help or treatment. Fast forward to 2010, I finally did get help. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder officially. My life at that time was kind of a chaotic mess. There wasn't a lot of stability. There was one piece of stability, which was my partner at the time who I lived with and our living situation. So that's probably a component that really helped me to be able to go to the next level to get help, is that there was at least one piece that was stable in my life. Prior to that relationship, it was kind of very, very chaotic. Even within that relationship, my personal stuff and dealing with my own personal traumas, problems at work, problems keeping a job, problems at school, problems getting along with other people, that was all impacting. Sorry. It's okay. I understand you want treats. Okay. That was all impacting how I felt, how I behaved, how I was functioning in the world, and impacting my relationships, impacting my ability to stick with things, and it was impacting my sense of well-being. I was often having suicidal thoughts. I was often feeling really depressed and anxious. I was often feeling a lot of shame and just not so good about myself and about life in general. One of the things that led to my diagnosis of BPD, so there are these criteria, I believe that they were still identifying them as 9 criteria, and at the time that I was diagnosed, that was the case, that you would need to have 5 out of 9 of these criteria in something called the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, that professionals use to make a diagnosis. And at that time I had several, but one of them was what's called identity disturbance, and that was what really tipped off my psychiatrist that this was BPD, because I didn't have the classic self-harm. Not everyone who has BPD does overt, like, physical self-harm. We might self-harm in other ways, or more covert ways, or in ways that are more self-sabotaging, but I didn't cut and I didn't do like the typical things that would be a red flag for a therapist to say, okay, this could be BPD. But what I did have was identity disturbance. So I had a really difficult time maintaining a sense of self and being that steady person no matter who I was around. Instead, what I tended to do was adapt to whoever I was with at the time and try to be what I thought they would approve of, or that would please them, that would make them happy, that would cause them to like me, want me around, not want to abandon or reject me, anyone else relating. And so I told her in one of the sessions, because at this point I was in intensive intensive outpatient hospitalization program, and I was, going to sessions all day long, and then I would also meet with her individually. And I just told her that one of the scariest things for me was to think about, what if all the people I knew were in one room with me? How would I behave? Who would I be? How would I respond? And the thought just really terrified me. So now you have a little bit of an idea of what my life looked like at that time. Also, like I said, I couldn't keep a job at that time. It was just, I was bouncing around because my emotions would get the better of me and I would quit or get fired. And that was a pattern over and over and over again. So it was not a pretty picture. And when I started DBT, I thought to myself, this has to work. I've tried so many things. I've tried years and years of just simple talk therapy. I've tried years and years of different modalities. I've tried years and years of all kinds of healing modalities. And not to say that those things didn't help or have a positive impact on my well-being, because they definitely did. But nothing was helping to get to the root of me being able to cope with my intense emotions and not self-sabotage anymore. And so when my psychiatrist told me that DBT skills were specifically designed for people with borderline personality disorder, even though now they're much more widely used with people who have a variety of concerns in relation to emotion regulation and emotional distress, I felt hopeful, because I was like, okay, yes, this is something specifically for what I'm dealing with. So I attended DBT skills groups. I met with my therapist individually. I continued to do some of the healing modality work that was helping me, including somatic experiencing and TRE, which is trauma recovery exercises, all with trained practitioners, of course. And 2 years into my journey with participating in DBT, because I kept going back to the clinic and repeating the modules, because I was making progress, but I didn't feel like I was totally ready to set sail, which makes sense because this is going to take time, right? To make changes and to implement those changes and have them become second nature and be doing something differently than you were before. So I kept going. I also liked the reinforcement. I liked the accountability. I liked the community. So it was something that I enjoyed continuing to do. About 2 years into going to DBT skills group, my psychiatrist and I were meeting one-on-one, and we were discussing how much progress I'd made and how my life looked much different than it did when I first started DBT. She pulls out the DSM, we go through it. She tells me I no longer meet the diagnostic criteria for borderline personality disorder. I'm like, so what does that mean? She goes, you don't have BPD anymore. She goes, you have BPD traits, but according to the DSM, you do not have enough of those traits to still have a BPD diagnosis. So it's possible to go into recovery and remission from this disorder. And I just don't know of very many serious mental illnesses or conditions where that's possible, or that I've heard that that's possible. So I was just exhilarated. I was like, I'm in recovery, I'm in remission. Did it mean that my life was perfect from then on? Does it mean that it is now? The answer is no. I'm still an emotionally sensitive person. I'm still processing and healing trauma that I've been through. I'm still challenged in moments, especially when I'm stressed, when it comes to my emotions and, needing to choose a skill over an old behavior, wanting to just creep up, right? But my life looks very different now. Right? So I, for the past almost 8 years now, have been teaching at emotionallysensitive.com. So these skills that I learned and that helped me heal my life, I'm now teaching to students around the world alongside my co-facilitator, who's a licensed therapist. And it's just been amazing to have that full circle experience and to continue to be able to do this. So I'm doing my life's mission and life's work. I'm taking what was my pain and using it as my purpose right? So that's one way that my life looks different. I'm also married. I'm not with the same guy I was with during that time I told you that things were pretty stable. I've been with my husband now for about 3, almost 4 years, and we have a very happy and healthy marriage, something that I never anticipated it could be this good. I never anticipated it could be this healthy and this functional based on the dysfunction that I grew up witnessing and the chaotic, dysfunctional relationships I had in my younger years throughout my 20s and so on. I was married also earlier on when I was 18, and that was not the best situation. And I'm happy. Do I have days that are difficult? Yes. Do I have moments, like I said, where I'm really challenged myself to use the very skills that I teach? Yes. But life looks a lot different now. It's not about acting on impulse. It's about slowing down, practicing mindfulness, noticing when I have the urge to say or do something that could be harmful toward myself or toward someone else, that could be damaging to a relationship, that could sabotage something that's of worth to me in my life. And I now am so integrated with the skills that I choose from that place 95% of the time because I'm not perfect either, right? Nobody is. Not even Dr. Linehan, who created these skills, and she would probably be the first to tell you that. So my life looks very different. It's stable. I'm happier. Even in the midst of this pandemic and all of the very upsetting things going on the planet lately, I have peace. It's not that I don't have my days, not that I haven't gotten emotional over things going on. It's not that I don't sometimes want to just totally freak out because of the COVID world and how it's changed everything. But thank goodness I had these skills before this all happened, because they have helped me to get through, and they are helping the students that come in at emotionallysensitive.com to get through a lot of moments that are coming up that are related to dealing with this COVID reality, this pandemic reality. So I didn't expect to talk this long on one question, and I don't want these videos to be too long so they're easily digestible. So I'm going to have to come back to this list and make other videos if you guys found this one helpful. So let me know in the comments whether this was helpful, if you have any follow-up questions to what I've already shared, and if you think it would be helpful for me to do additional videos, and just what you thought in general. And just to let you know, the class that I co-facilitate with Catherine Holt, who's a licensed psychologist with a PhD in progress, she has a master's degree and she's a licensed clinical social worker, starts on February 1st, which is very soon here. And it's completely online, and you can join our community and learn the skills I keep referencing and referring to. So if you have any questions about that as well, please pop them into the questions below, or you can visit us at emotionallysensitive.com. There's a contact form, and oftentimes someone is available online on the web chat, so it'll pop up and say chat live if you have questions. And if you have additional questions that you want me to answer in future videos like this, I'm happy to do that. And again, this is Debbie from healingfrombpd.com and emotionallysensitive.com. You can find my books under the pen name Debbie Corso on Amazon or your local bookstore or wherever you like to order books usually. My name is Debbie DeMarco Bennett, but my pen name when I wrote my books on BPD and DBT was Debbie Corso. And we're so glad you're here. Thank you for helping to make this community such a special place of support and non-judgment. And thank you to Ari and Sherrod for your awesome moderation of the group. Talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.